Okay, so first of all, obviously, neither you nor I are familiar with the intelligence, so it's really hard for us to make that conclusion. On the other hand, how it was done seems a little bit strange to me. The fact that Defense Minister Gantz decided on a Friday to suddenly do this, there wasn't discussion in the Security Cabinet, there wasn't discussion in the Cabinet. It was a unilateral decision. My sense is I don't think he understood the implications of what he was doing. In other words, even if it was as 100% justified, it would seem to me that in advance of doing something like that, you let the foreign ministry be ready, you have all sorts of talking points, everything all set. And what it's been has been a run after the decision. In other words, he made a decision, no one was prepared for the decision. And now we're just seeing the chaos that has resulted from this decision. So in a general sense, I don't think it was worth it in terms of how it was done. Whether it was worth it in terms of what was done, again, without seeing the intelligence, is almost impossible to know.
Certainly, and that's an important point. The backstory clearly not known, but the way this is being covered. But on the other side, another issue with the U.S. that's emerging now. Again, it's been an issue, but that they want to reopen the consulate. That the White House wants to reopen the Palestinian consulate in Jerusalem here, and there's pressure now coming from the White House on this. There had been a sense of nuance around this issue that they didn't want to complicate the new Israeli government with this. But where do you see this issue going? Is this a point that you think the U.S. will stand on, will insist on?
Look, this was a promise that Biden made, one of his semi-campaign promises. We have to remember there was a consulate in Jerusalem for the Palestinian that dealt primarily with Palestinian affairs since forever, basically, since the 1890s or something in that area. It only was closed by President Trump. Was it, did we like the fact it was closed? Yeah, we sort of liked the fact that it was closed because it said something about Palestinians in Jerusalem that we liked as a government. However, again, it seems to me we make too much of a deal over symbolic matters. Our biggest concern right now has to be with the United States going to support us 100% when it comes to Iran. Everything else is a sideshow. And again, if the Americans really want to open up that consulate, it makes no sense in my mind to make that a big deal. So it's not a big deal. Again, it's symbolism. And yes, some people make symbolism important, but symbolism is really not the important area. If Biden needs to deal with his left flank by doing that, then I think we should be understanding. I don't think it causes that much harm to us. It doesn't divide Jerusalem again or anything else like that. Look, there are hundreds of thousands of Palestinian citizens in Jerusalem that have not taken Israeli citizenship, and they exist. And the fact of the matter is, yes, would it be better if they opened it in Ramallah? Yes, it would be better if they opened in Ramallah. But again, are we going to fight over symbolism, or are we going to worry about things like military support, if necessary, when it comes to Iran? That's the most important thing in our foreign policy. And sometimes we need to remember what's most important and what's secondary. And symbolism is always secondary, at least in this day and age.
Marc Schulman, as always, thanks for your insight.